Then I will quit
We're good.
chomping at the bit until you tell me that we're ready.
I just saw a thumbs up. Are we good, Stephanie?
Yeah.
Right, Jack, take it away.
Call to order the special meeting of the Victorian Village Commission 1 o'clock on May 26, 2020, the next regular meeting of the commission. Well, I'll figure all that out. Anyway, I did not call up my agenda. Where is it?
If it helps in the interim, there is an agenda.
There we go. Let's swear in staff. Kim, do you swear or affirm the testimony you'll give today is the truth and the whole truth and nothing but?
Kimberly Bernard-Sheehy, Assistant Historic Preservation Officer, and yes, I do.
All right, let's introduce the commissioners we have. Commissioner Moriarty is here.
Present.
Commissioner Sullivan.
Present.
Commissioner Hisson.
Present.
Commissioner Decker is present. I don't know if Mr. Siwa was going to join us or not.
No,
He
he
was
had a
not.
conflict.
Then we are fully constituted and have a quorum. We now have on the agenda 231 West 4th. The staff has a presentation you would like to make.
Staff's got our staff report. So this application is for a scaled and measured. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So this is to rebuild the rear steps per submitted documentation. Commissioners at the business meeting requested a scaled measured site plan for the stairs in relation to the rest of the building. Commissioners wanted to know if the stairs would be painted or stained, and a full rear elevation photo was also requested. Commissioners wanted to be able to see that entire side of the house. Staff does recommend approval of the application with the condition that the scaled and measured drawing of the stairs, including the existing house, is to be submitted to staff prior to the issuance of certificate. And this is based on City Code 3116.11, the standards for alteration. I will give this back to you, Chair, so we can get our applicant sworn in.
All right, is our applicant here?
Yes, Matt Beckett.
Sir, do you swear or affirm the testimony you will give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And as I understand it, this work is already completed without a certificate, correct?
That is correct.
All right. Do you have any presentation to make in addition to what staff has mentioned?
My apologies. When we built these, I was under the impression that if we built the same material and built the same way, that we were fine to do that. But we did make one alteration because the old steps were not up to code. So that's the reason why I'm here. And then regarding the color, I did send an email just saying I'll leave that up to the commission. It doesn't matter to me what color it's stained, if you need it stained. So I am all good.
Currently, this is untreated, unstained, unfinished treated lumber, correct?
That is correct. Yes.
All right. And the change that you made from existing was to put the landing where it is right by the electric meters and then have a return staircase to get to the ground level, right?
Correct. And I believe the treads were only 6 inches originally. If we would do it to existing code, the 2 steps would have ran probably about 3 steps into each other off the ground.
The prior condition had the steps pretty much meeting at the bottom at ground level anyway.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, that wasn't ideal. All right, discussion.
I have a couple comments. Sorry that I had to cut out at the meeting last time, and therefore we're having a special meeting now because we lost our quorum. My concern is that the current new stairs are sort of like right next to the existing fence line, which you have identified as planning to be replaced. It looks like, I'm not sure if you own that budding property as well, but I'm concerned that someone on I guess, the right side on the ground of the staircase would not be able to access the alleyway. Like, is there another exit point to the backyard?
From the upper steps, is that what you're asking?
More so from the right side back door. How does that person exit their?
Oh, there is a walkway to the, what would be that, to the east of the property? So if you look at that
Oh, I
chart
see.
right there,
Okay.
they would
Yep.
go out that way.
Okay, so is that okay with the rest of the commissioners that the stairs are that close to the fence line?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too. On this site plan, I did see that there's a note about the existing fences to be replaced. I don't know if we need additional information on that. Or what everybody's thoughts were.
Is that part, are changes to the fence part of this application, Kim?
No, they are not. That would be a separate application.
I do not believe I own that fence.
So I think the thing, I wasn't part of this, but I think the thing that's more catching my eye is how did we okay the back doors of this place? Because I've never seen that configuration okayed anywhere.
What do you mean, Jeff? The physical door material?
Yeah, either it's a half light or a 3/4. I don't think we've ever okayed the opposite of that as a new door versus if it was historic, we might have had it remade, but we wouldn't have okayed new doors in that configuration.
Was this an alteration you made, sir?
That's the biggest thing for me. That's on all of those doors on the whole back of that property.
So you guys know this better than I do. Are you speaking to the door with the light in the door or above the door?
The light in the door, the transom is okay. It's the light in the door.
Okay, so the transom, I knew that was there. Do we have any of the original pictures that were taken? Do they show any of the doors? Because I'll be honest with you, I got all this, the windows approved and all this stuff through, and the doors may be different. I'll be honest. I'm not
The
sure.
doors are definitely not something that we would have approved.
Okay.
And other commissioners, you can speak up. Maybe you were involved in it. I don't know.
I don't
Oh, so
believe
there's
we've
the
ever
original
seen that.
doors. There's the original doors right there, I think. Well, maybe not. I gotta look at that.
But sir, Mr. Beckett, you did replace the doors.
Everything had to be replaced in this place. There's no question about it.
Okay.
I can't believe those. I don't know if those were they are similar doors to what were there.
Similar covers a lot of territory. I've never seen doors like that either in this neighborhood. Usually, if you're going to have glass, it's at least a half light. Kim, was there was no certificate granted to replace these doors, was there?
I don't recall. I'm not sure if that was something that got done when Sarah was here or prior to her, but I can take a look at the files to see when that was approved.
Was there a Christine?
A Kristen?
Kristen Moody?
Yes. That's how long ago we started this project. So I do know I worked with her on all the windows, and I'll be honest, I do not recall the doors.
I will check the file the next time I'm in the office and see what's there. And if there's no approval, we can work from there.
Yeah, that's just alarming. That's alarming to me, and it's also alarming that it would set a terrible precedent within the neighborhood to allow that, because that's where we get into the problem. Well, he just did it over there. Look right there. And I get your thought process. It's a back door. I want a little bit more light, but I want safety, so I'll do this door.
Okay.
It seems to me we have to leave this pretty much where it is until we make sure that there's not been a prior approval.
Okay.
And then, Mr. Beckett, if there hasn't been a prior approval, will you come in with a proposal to deal with the doors? Rather
Sure,
than
and then-
waiting for code enforcement to come out and start the process over?
No, that's fine. That's fine. And I got to go through pictures to see what those existing doors look like, if you don't mind.
That's fine
well.
too.
Yeah,
All
okay.
right, so what's in front of us is these stairways. Does anyone have any thoughts on finishing them or treating them further with something? Or are we good to go with raw and treated lumber, which is fairly common around the neighborhood?
So I have two. I think once this ages, it'll go away, but I'm sure you probably want to do something to add some longevity to it. So I wouldn't want it to stay the color it is. You know, painting it white or painting it trim color or something like that would be better. And I'm okay with just leaving it the way it is and let it actually age.
I would prefer not to paint it white because it will chip, but I will have no problem doing a stain or something, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
Do you want to come back when you come back for the doors with a stain proposal?
Or you
Sure, I
can
could
go
just
to
do a
staff.
natural stain or whatever works. Whatever, I mean, I would defer by your guys' recommendation just because to me it needs to be protected somehow for longevity.
The stain color could go to staff for approval as well, Jack, if that would be okay with the rest of the commissioners.
There you go.
That's fine with us. Okay, we ready for a motion then to approve as submitted with the stain to be submitted to staff for staff approval? Have we such a motion?
And for the doors to be resubmitted. Right?
I don't know if that's part of that application. He's
Okay.
got to do that anyway because code enforcement will be out to see him if he doesn't do it and needs to.
Okay. I will make a motion to approve as submitted pending staff approval of a finish treatment for the wood stairs.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Moriarty and a second by Hissam. Any further discussion? All right, let's vote. Moriarty,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes,
Hissam,
Yes.
Decker, yes. Sir, you're approved as far as we go.
I understand. I appreciate your
Let's
time.
figure out what's going on with these doors. Nice catch, Jeff.
I will email Kim and take care of it.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You bet. Bye.
All right, we have one other item on the agenda.
So that is 90 West Greenwood Avenue. This application is to demolish an existing rear garage, construct a 3-story single-family home and two carriage houses. The exterior materials would be brick veneer, fiber cement lap siding, both horizontal and vertical with battens, fiber cement trim, GAF slate line, English gray dimension shingles, pellet and pervia windows, as well as variances that include the AR12, ARLD, AR1 apartment residential district use, maneuvering minimum number of parking spaces required, the area requirements, fronting, maximum side yards required, minimum side yard permitted, and the rear yard. Commissioners at the business meeting requested additional photographs of the existing garage. They also wanted to confirm that trees were included on the site plan. The existing garage was constructed in 1983 per the county auditor, and the overall building height would need to be lowered to better fit in with the existing homes. And I did include previous comments from the last hearing this was included at. Staff recommends approval of the application with the conditions that the overall building height is lowered to fit in with the neighboring properties, and the carriage houses have similar setbacks from the alley. Staff does recommend the recommendation of the variances. Basis for staff recommendation is 3116.12, these standards for new construction.
And I'm sorry, you're recommending that the carriage houses both have a similar setback from the alley to others along the alley? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Thank you. Have we an applicant?
Yes, Carrick Sherrill with Columbus Design Company.
Do you swear from the testimony you will give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Do you have anything to add to what staff has said before we, the commissioners, launch in?
I don't. We at the previous meeting we discussed the location of the west carriage house. And it was generally thought it was okay in its current location, in its relationship to the what would be the multifamily building to the west of that. And I think that was the only comment that I had with regard to what Kimberly talked about.
Can we see that elevation? Please.
Which elevation?
Of the two carriage houses side by side.
You mean the overhead?
Yeah, I thought we had an
The
elevation
site
where,
plan?
no, an elevation of both of those, they sit next to one another. I thought we had an elevation of both of those side by side. Because the one we're showing right now, I think we were totally fine with. I think it was the second one. Not this
Right.
one.
I think we only have an elevation of the front of the house in relation to its two neighboring properties.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't include an alley street view of the relationship of the two carriage houses.
Because
here.
obviously those two things need to be pulled together, and then this one dormer that has just the row of windows, I don't think we would approve something like that. Because that almost becomes a clear story. So I don't know what other commissioners think about that.
Okay, you're looking at the dormer on the, well, actually both sides of page
The
7.
single, the double, yeah, not that one, the other one, this
That
one.
one.
This is the one we're looking at.
And your comments would apply to both the north and south elevations of that,
Yep.
wouldn't they? Yeah, I agree. But we've got a lot of stuff to get through with this application because we've really got a demo, we got variances, and then we've got 3 buildings to look at. And I guess we've started with
Okay.
a garage, so we might as well stay there. And where these, is this the one that is supposed to be set back from the alley? Or is it the larger one?
The larger one setback.
The larger one is set back, so this one is actually to the building next to the one next to the apartment building is the larger one with 2 dormers. Correct?
Correct.
Does anybody but me have a problem with setting this thing back to create more parking? Because this, it seems to me, ought to line up not only with all the garages in the along the alley, although there are a lot of missing teeth, but with the existing building that's going to be next to it.
I agree
So
with
I
you,
think-
Jack. I think that is a similar storyline we had with another current application.
Yep.
That we would prefer the alley setback to be rather consistent.
I also
And I
agree.
think
So it either comes up or they both go back. Is that what you're saying?
I
No.
don't think we want them to go back.
no, we're saying that they all come up because they should be consistent not only with each other but with what else is along the alley.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
Do we all agree on that?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And other than needing to work on that dormer, is the size, scale, and design of the garage that we're looking at up on the screen now on page 7 of the application. Any other issues with that design?
No.
Yeah, I don't. I would, I don't know, challenge that maybe to fix the awning windows, if they could increase the height of the dormer slightly. I think then it would align more with the kind of what Jeff was talking about, the 2 garages next to each other. So
So you
that,
increase the height of the dormer by reducing the pitch of it.
correct. And then that's what they did on the larger one to fit a double, well, they're calling it a single hung, but to fit that window so it doesn't become the awning window.
And then you might have 2 or 3 windows with spaces in between them or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Or, yeah, a triple bank or something like that.
What do
For
you
the
think,
commissioners,
folks?
I'm sorry, is there a reason why we're not in favor of the Rove windows or the clerestory?
The vocabulary is not vernacular. We would never see that. And then we would start to see garages, because basically what you want to do is get as much light as you can. We'd have ribbon windows like you wouldn't believe on every application that's coming in.
Okay.
That's the precedent.
The guidelines require us to, when we can, use proportions and shapes that echo, for new builds, that echo the vocabulary of surrounding structures. And so that's why we're looking for that sort of window opening here. Right, Jeff?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So I think that exhausts us. We've still got a little work to do on garage 1, but not much. We're going to go to garage 2, which is on page 6. Other than a location which needs to be brought nearer the alley, do we have any other feedback about the design?
Nope. I'm fine with it.
Aaron, Kevin? I think the applicant has taken our prior comments and done well with them.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I guess I just don't understand why the 2 roof pitches are 6 inches different. I don't know if that's just a drafting notation error.
Good eye, Kevin.
I don't think anybody would notice that. But yeah, I agree. The comments were well received, and I think this is fine.
All right, so then we have the structure, which would be on A12 or page 5 of the application we have. Comments? Again, we have the ribbon windows on the back of the addition. And we also have a bank of 3 single hung fiberglass windows. And I would ask about that bank, if you found these windows in, original construction, they would have window weights. So you would need to have space between each window with a board in between it, like a 1x4.
You're talking on the second story of the north elevation.
That's correct.
Yep, I think we've recently requested that from another applicant, that they separate their windows on the rear facade.
Do you have a problem separating those out just a little bit?
I do not.
So tell me, I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. What are we talking about?
The second story north elevation windows.
Just instead of a factory mold triple window, we'll be looking at 3 individually framed windows with, a 1x4 or a 1x6 in between. That's fine.
And that's on the top, or where are we talking?
Second story.
The second story. And then what do we have on the first story, and what do we have on the third story?
Well, that's a good question. That's where we're headed next.
Okay.
What do we have on the first the first story is a 3-way sliding patio door, isn't it?
That's correct. It's the same door on both the first floor and the third floor. It's a 9-foot wide triple slider that pockets into the single bay on the right, so that you have a nearly full 6-foot opening.
Yeah, but so what does that look like, I guess, when it's closed? I get you want the opening, but I've never seen one of these things look like it's supposed to look like. Do you have a cut sheet on that?
I do. It's a Pella door. I can provide that.
Along those lines too, while we're talking all these windows, the Pella Impervia, I think was the one that you said you were going to use.
Yeah.
If we get the cut sheet on that too. Because it's all called out fiberglass for all of these. I didn't think, or I guess I'm not positive if that's on our approved list or not.
I'm pretty sure that
is.
Yeah.
Kim, yeah, what's the deal?
So that is on the approved windows list. I don't remember off the top of my hand if that is the window that is only approved as a casement or not, though. Because I know one of the fiberglass ones is only approved as the casement. But let me take a look.
That one. Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought the double hungs all had to be wood. In which case, I think we would want to match.
So, so we need to look into the windows. The north elevation. So we got to look into the windows on this thing. The third floor reveal balcony, whatever you want to call it. How is that being treated up there?
Like the parapet.
Yeah.
So that would just be a smooth panel, you know, from the floor line to whatever 40 inches above the floor line, with battens every 4 feet. So the
Okay.
lower would be the 12-inch spacing, and then the upper would be more like the crown that you would see on a like paneled house.
Okay.
It's got kind of an Italianate flair to it, which is
Yeah.
kind of neat.
I like it. So then let's go. Are there any other questions on the north one, you guys?
No.
No, I think that are you headed to the strip
South.
windows?
Huh?
Are you headed to the strip windows?
No, I'm
Go.
going to the south. So
Go.
we've taken care of the back. Let's look at the front.
Mm-hmm.
I think that top piece, those windows would be treated in a different way. They wouldn't be just there.
Which ones? The little Italianate
Very-
windows?
No. Everything on that facade is okay, except when we go up to that top dormer.
The dormer. There we go.
Are you wanting
This must be a signature of Columbus design, because we have a bunch of these that are just lifting roofs and bringing you know, ganged windows in there. So I think we need to address that everywhere we see it. So for example, this one, we would see like 2 little windows and a bigger window, or we'd see some kind of reveal, but we would not just see that dormer with 3 windows ganged up.
Particularly single pane, right?
Yep.
right?
So we need another window solution there, and there are probably vernacular examples all over the neighborhood you can draw from.
Yep.
Any other comments about the south elevation? On the east elevation, is the lack of what are strips on your parapet deliberate, or is that
No, that's
just a drafting omission?
yeah, unfortunately.
All right, so now on both the east and west elevations, it seems to me we have the same issue in the dormers.
Yep.
And I have an issue with the troika of windows on both elevations on the second floor of the faux addition. You, Jeff?
Yep.
So we would be looking for a more appropriate solution to getting light into those areas.
Would you see that as potentially 2 smaller dormers on each side, or?
Well, usually in those, first off, we wouldn't see a clip dormer. We would just see a dormer, a regular dormer on the sides. And yes, I would probably see it as 2.
I think 2 is an acceptable design solution, but would disagree with Mr. Hissom that you need to go there. I think if you fix the fenestration, the dormer's okay.
Well, what puts us off is there's no chimney, Jack. And if there was a chimney on here, that would tell us a lot more. That's just my 2 cents.
I don't, yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying. It sounds like there's enough, enough going on here that we'll need to make revisions and come back anyway. So I'll discuss a chimney with with my client. I think it's unlikely that he's going to want to add one.
No, I'm not saying that you need to add a chimney. I'm saying the configuration would be different if in fact
Right.
it was a real chimney and how these dormers would have been placed on the house. That's what I'm saying.
Right. No, okay, I understand that now.
Yep. No, I'm not asking you to add a chimney, not at all.
Do we have
Now,
any?
if you want to add one,
Do we have any other issues with any of the elevations on the main house other than those that have been identified already?
I had a question. Ooh, go ahead.
Yeah. Yes, Aaron.
Oh, thank you. I think in the past we've had some issues with uncovered rear porches being classified as decks. And I wasn't sure if this met the standards that commission didn't feel that this was a deck.
well, I think what we did on this, Aaron, is they pulled the wainscoting up to hide it as a deck.
No, not the third floor, the first floor.
Where we see the sliding 6-foot window. Oh, you're saying
Not the sliding. Nope. Oh, sorry, maybe that's the front. The front of the
I've
house.
got a-
The front of the house.
The front of the house is a stoop.
Isn't there a minimum or maximum floor area that we determined previously?
No.
Do we have a site plan of that so I can see it?
It's the first sheet.
So you're talking about, so yeah, wouldn't that be a stoop?
I just can't remember if the last time we were looking at a stoop, we were requiring them to minimize the area, and I don't know what that area.
Is that stoop, does it have like wrought iron and all that kind of stuff?
It has a welded steel railing around it with pickets.
And that's the railing that you have on the material cut sheet, correct?
Yeah. That was just kind of our standard factory built welded railing, but the elevation shows the pickets correctly.
And that's
Yeah,
just,
I'm all confused. Are you talking about the metal railing on the A30 that has horizontal members?
Yes.
Your elevations show vertical ones, and you intend to have vertical ones, right?
Right, and I'm saying the elevation is correct. The photo that we're referencing, the welded steel, is just representing the material, not necessarily the orientation.
Got it. Anybody have an issue with metal railing on a concrete and masonry stoop in front of the house?
well, is it going to be concrete and masonry?
Yes.
Okay.
So then it seems to me that our concerns with the house are now limited to dormers, windows, and doors. Is that fair?
That is fair.
And so we're honing in on an approvable design, but we aren't there yet.
Okay.
Does anyone have any reason to believe that the garage is worthy of preservation?
Kim, when did you say it was built?
80? I believe it was 1980 is what she said. If Kim
Can you
is
jump to a picture of it, Kim?
1983.
okay.
Yeah, I don't think it has anything that we need to worry about preserving. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with Jeff. It looks like it's a CMU block on a slab. Yeah, I don't think that
Yeah.
falls into where we would call historic.
Now, guys, I've got one too. All right. So, from the applicant's perspective, when we, presuming we have an approvable design, we would vote at the same time to permit the demolition of the garage. And then
Yes.
lastly, does anyone have, assuming we get to approvable designs for the 3 buildings, do we have any problem with any of the variances, which generally, from our perspective, follow design?
Nothing jumped at me.
If we make you put the garage back on the the western garage back in line with everything else, does that influence your variance list?
Looks like it takes one off the variance list.
Okay. Well, you might want to adjust that when you come back. Can you be ready for, or can we have this ready for 2 weeks, or do we need longer? And I'm asking both staff and the applicant.
I would like to do everything I can to get something resubmitted for review at the full meeting, the regular meeting.
Can you turn around design in about a week? I know.
Yeah, I can get something back in a week.
Shall we do that?
Can I also request just a couple more pictures of the garage? It's not clear to me which picture of the 4 we're supposed to be looking at to determine that demolition.
Yeah, I had more photos of the actual garage. That set of photos is actually the alley that was requested in one of the previous meetings. The photos of the garage were on a different sheet, and I must have left it out because it was in the meeting before the last one. It was pretty much determined that the garage was not contributing, but I will make sure that the garage photos are back in the set.
Please do that. And lastly, does anyone have any landscaping issues? We're going to be killing some trees. We don't have a lot of space to replace them.
In the resubmittal, if you could add a cut sheet for the pavers.
I think on landscaping, we had previously requested a landscape plan, so I see on the site plan, you have some shrubbery, shown but not identified. So if you could tell us what materials you're planning to plant.
Sure.
And same for the trees. It looks like these are new trees you're putting in. What are they? How big are you putting in? You know, are they going to be little twigs or, you know,
Sure.
2-inch or 4-inch or whatever the heck they are going to be,
Yep.
including a specification for the trunk diameter so we know what we're getting.
Sure. Yep.
All right. Do we have
Yep.
any other direction or advice to give anyone?
I had one more comment. I was just a question for the commission that the exterior facade is going to be a brick veneer. Have we approved that anywhere else before?
Brick veneer.
Is that allowed?
I've suddenly drawn a blank. What is brick veneer?
Thin
If
brick.
It's a standard cavity wall. It's not intended to be a thin brick or anything like that. It's a standard full width brick cavity wall construction. It's just not a true structurally bearing brick wall.
So it's full-size bricks, but it's one course up against the stud wall.
Correct.
That's what we do.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Yep, no problem.
Anything else? Do we have
Okay.
a motion? Do we have a motion to continue to the June meeting?
So moved.
Moriarty moves. Have we a second?
Second.
Okay.
Mr. Sullivan is first on the draw with the second. Further discussion. All right, let's vote. Moriarty,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Gibson,
Yes.
Decker, yes, you are continued.
Great.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for your time.
Mr.
Thanks,
Sherrill,
man.
thank you.
Thank you.
And I want to thank all the commissioners who made themselves available to keep things moving today.
Yes, thank you.
All right, bye-bye, folks.
Thanks, you guys.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to
So
adjourn.
moved.
Okay, we have a three-way motion to adjourn, and I give it to Hissam on seniority and a second from
Second.
Second.
Moriarty. All in favor? Aye. We're
Aye.
adjourned.
Aye.
Aye.
We're
And it's-
Okay, bye,
adjourned.
guys.
See you all in 2 weeks.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
I did your comment. What is the address for that Ice Avenue one?